Good evening. My name is Barb Peterson, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Ames and Story County, and I am the Voter Services Chair, and I want to welcome you here tonight. The purpose of tonight's meeting is twofold. First of all, we're going to learn about the Water and Land Legacy Bond that will be on the ballot this year. And also, we're going to give you an opportunity to talk with our county officials. It'll be kind of a mingle among yourselves, so very informal. And so I'd like to reintroduce to you the county officials, first of all. And we have Lucy Martin, just kind of wave, people. We have County Treasurer Ted Rasmussen, Linda Merkin, County Supervisor, and Latifa over there, and Timothy Meals, County Attorney. Yeah, if there's room, if you'd like to come up there and sit. But it's the second part of this will be very informal. So I will now turn the mic over to John Klaus. He is going to tell you a little bit about our two gentlemen up here that are the experts in the bond issues that's going to be on the ballot.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you. I'm John Klaus. I'm here tonight in lieu of my spouse who is recovering from COVID, and in lieu of the co-chair who's also recovering from COVID. So anyway, welcome on behalf of the League of Women Voters. We're going to learn tonight about something that doesn't happen every day. We have a ballot issue that involves $25 million of general obligation, and it is about what is being called the Water and Land Legacy. And to tell us about that and why we should vote for it are Michael Cox, who is the head of the Department of Conservation for Story County, and Jim Pease, chairman of the County Conservation Board. And I don't know in what order they want to proceed, but we'll leave that up to them. So let's hear it for Jim Pease at first. Looks like he's getting up, and then Mike Cox.
Well, thank you very much. And if you have not already received one of these brochures, please raise your hand and we'll get one out to you. I want to acknowledge Corey Hoyce back here, who's my co-chair for the bond committee. We have people from all over the county, every walk of life. It seems like we've got lots of folks involved in this issue. We have not, I've been on the board now, the Conservation Board, for, this is my 14th year, and we've never done this before. We talked about doing it back in 2020, but you know what happened then, and COVID and everything else that came up. And so we kind of pulled back from that. But we were glad we did, actually. I think we're much better prepared now. We know we have more master planning that has gone on in the intervening 4 years. And we're much better prepared, I think, for this time. I'm really pleased to be able to come with Mike and talk with you tonight about this issue. Let's see. It is a $25 million bond, a 20-year obligation bond. If we borrowed all of it at once, which we probably won't, we'll batch it out. But if we borrowed it all at once, it would cost the average homeowner in Story County $2.60 a month, $32 a year for the average homeowner. If your home is worth more than $229,000, it'd be more than that. If it's worth less, it would be less than that. So agriculture is a little harder to figure because those figures are based on corn suitability ratings and all kinds of stuff. So it's about $1.77 a month for every $100,000 of assessed valuation. And commercial, it's $283 a month for $200,000 of assessed valuation. That's after everything is pulled off. So we have a way of dealing with money, and Linda and Latifa, the supervisors, have helped us to leverage money from lots of other sources. So we have a good track record of doing that. We've used over the last 8 years something like $8 million of county tax monies to accomplish $21 million in projects. We do that by using that money to leverage state grants, federal grants, private donations, those sorts of things. We hope to do the same with this. We want to turn the 25 million eventually into over 50 million that comes from other sources. So the value to the average Story County resident will be much higher than the 25 million we're investing. We did a poll. We had a national polling company come in the springtime, and they polled Story County residents. And among the things that tested or polled very, very high, for whatever polls are worth, the very top thing, of course, was water quality and rivers, lakes, and streams. They really felt that was an important thing. Reducing flooding, providing outdoor recreational opportunities on trails and other things, protecting and improving habitat for wildlife and wild places and wild things, and providing more hiking and walking connections between communities. And you'll see in a minute here that that's exactly what this bond is all about, is the kinds of projects that we've chosen. There are lots more projects we could do. We've got a long list of things we want to do, but the ones we've chosen for this bond first, this will give us a sustainable set of funds that we can then go after projects really, really quickly and be able to get them accomplished. We've accomplished a lot in this county. County conservation boards all over the state are all about quality of life. We can have the cheapest taxes, the cheapest land, whatever you want, but if we don't have things for people to do, quality of life, they're not going to stick around. We want to have a high quality of living, an even higher quality of living, so that Story County is just a great place to live, work, and play. And we feel that these projects will help that, help make us even stronger. I think, Mike, you want to try some?
All right, well, thank you, Jim. So Jim really described what we learned from the poll, from the polling that was done, and so we took the thoughts that came out of the poll, we took the thoughts that have come out of the public-derived Conservation Board strategic plan and some of our public master planning that we've done, and we really kind of synthesized those, and we put those into themes. 3 themes that I want to talk about. The first one here is preservation. And Jim talked about water quality. Water quality we just found was key. And whether you call it water quality or whether you call it soil health or whether you call it flood mitigation, all of those are kind of intertwined and related to one another. And so we really felt it was important to focus on that. So in this first theme, if you will, of preservation, you'll see a lot of work that goes directly into protecting and improving the quality of our water and the quality of our soil and our habitat. So we've got that grouped in there as well. So those 3 things that we're focusing on. And if you've got this brochure, if you don't, there are more at the back. But there's a QR code on the back of that goes to the county website. And I don't have time here. We won't go into all of the projects that are included in the bond. But if you went to this website, you will be able to see those. I'm going to give you a kind of a broad brushstroke description of those. Probably in this preservation category, the most notable one would be this Greenbelt, the South Skunk River Greenbelt protection. We have a fairly well-protected greenbelt between Ames and Story City. When I say protected, what I mean is that that land is put into permanent perennial vegetation that keeps soil on the land and then protects nutrients from, or I should say protects the stream from the nutrients that's all too often wash off of the land into the soil. So protection, we're protecting the land from erosion from the stream and from nutrient loading from the nearby land. In the recreation category, that's the next one, and we really are focusing on meeting people where they are. Jim talked about quality of life again, but we feel that, and it's been proven, study after study will tell you that the more exposure people have to the outdoors, the healthier they are. Socially, mentally, physically, the healthier we are. There's been numerous studies on the color of rooms, as you can well imagine, and green is one of the most healthy colors. If you were to paint your house or your office, green is one of the healthiest colors to put on the walls. And the reason is because it looks like the outdoors. So it has physical, chemical impacts on our bodies the more time we have outside, and so it's been proven. So we want to make it easier for people to, if they're interested in getting outside, to make it easier for them to do so. Kind of meet them where they are with their interests and enable pathways, if you will, no pun intended, to enjoy the outdoors. So one of the things that we'll do here is a series of bike trail improvements. How many of you bike? Several. Okay. So we've got 3 projects here, and again, I'm really only going to chat about the one of them. But there's 3 projects in the queue that would improve biking facilities. And maybe you don't bike, but maybe you like to get out and stroll, push the grandkids, the kids or whatever it may be. These projects would help enable that. First one is an alternative to the R38 bike lanes between Ames and Slater on County Road R38. How many of you have done that trail or those bike lanes? How many of you felt completely at ease and not a care in the world as you strolled down that busy highway? Okay. So this would address that. This would come up with an alternative to those bike lanes, so that if you're a motorist, you don't have to worry about trail users, and if you're a trail user, you don't have to worry about motorists maybe using their thumbs more than they're supposed to. So at any rate, the bike lanes are important. This is one. This is one project. There's another project of a trail between Ames and McFarland Park, or maybe between Ada Hayden and McFarland Park. And then there's more, so you can read about them on there. Another thing I want to talk about here with recreation is accessibility. One of the projects that's in the queue is accessible facilities at Hickory Grove Park. So over by Colo, we want to provide accessible fishing and accessible fishing pier, accessible canoe, maybe kayak launch, maybe similar to what the city of Ames has with Ada Hayden. So those are some of the things that we want to do in this recreation category. As far as education, and again, I'm trying to be brief, as far as education, the program that Story County Conservation has with environmental education is bar none, arguably the best one in the state. Has won multiple awards statewide for the best environmental education program. Much of that is due to the Jim here and his work over the years, and the people that have been involved with that program and supported that program. The education program is in every school district in the county. So every school child, maybe barring some homeschoolers that don't get involved with maybe their local homeschool group, but every school child in the county goes through the environmental education program that we have. So our facilities are, I'll say, woefully inadequate for the need. And so you say, well, you're doing environmental education, you do that outside, right? And most of the time, yes. Most of the time, yes, but there's several times when that's not always possible, and so we need to do it inside. And so we need to address some facility needs that we have there. So this project would address those facility needs and would create a new visitor center at McFarland Park. As you see some artistic renditions of that here. And that would be if you will, the public face, the museum space, visitor center space. People can come gather, maybe have meetings such as this, and enjoy using the park and that facility as a gateway to get outside and explore nature. So those are again kind of a selected number of the projects that are that would be in the bond. So again, reference the website maybe for the full list, and then Jim will come up and chat a little bit more about the committee.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. The committee, as I say, is a cross-section of people from around the county. We've been doing talks with groups like this, with service clubs, I was just speaking to a student group on campus earlier this evening. There are lots of opportunities, and if any of you have groups you'd like to have us come and talk with, we'd be happy to do that. I really believe, and the whole committee believes, that the best voters are informed voters. However you vote, yes, no, maybe, whatever, if you're informed about it, I respect that. So I know the League of Women Voters is all about informing voters, and I appreciate you all showing up here tonight. Our whole committee believes in that, and so what we've been trying to do is get an education campaign out, despite the fact that the polling numbers in spring said, oh, this will pass easily. We don't take that for granted, and we're trying to get around and educate people about the kinds of projects we want to do, and this is one of those efforts. In order to vote on this, you need to turn the ballot over. It is on the back of the ballot, and it will be the language that is in there is in your brochure on this page, the part that's outlined or highlighted there in yellow. That whole paragraph is what will be on the back of the ballot. So read that, understand it, and vote accordingly. Let's see, I think we've got, do you want to try the video? Okay. We have a little video to show you here, so.
And I'm going to try to turn the volume down because be ready here. It might come on very loud at the beginning. Oops.
Okay.
We'll try that.
And you are allowed to get up and dance if you want. many of those videos, Rick Dietz took several of those that are included in that. So thanks, Rick, for volunteering that. I do want to clarify one thing that Mike talked about, and that is because I've been asked a couple of questions about it before. And the question is, will we acquire any land? And the answer is unequivocally yes, I hope so. And I don't apologize for public land. I think public land is absolutely critical to the well-being of people across the country, across the world for that matter. And, thank you. And in Story County, in Iowa, no matter what you're told in the coffee shops, Iowa is next to last in the nation for the amount of land that is in public ownership, and that includes city, county, state, and federal land. Next to last in the nation in the percentage of our land. So it's very, very low in Iowa. So I think public land, is very, very important. Yes, absolutely, farmland is critically important as well. But so is a livable life, and I think public land makes a huge contribution to that. The land we will be acquiring, we hope, will be along that river corridor, helping protect the river resource as well, and providing buffer along that river. So with that?
Questions and answers time.
Okay, yes.
So do you have any questions, folks? Let's address them to the speakers. Yes.
How are you going to acquire the land? Are you going to do domain?
No, we do not. No, we do not do eminent domain. We work with landowners. In fact, you can, I think a good example is along the Heart of Iowa Trail. All that land was acquired from willing sellers or people who gifted it. Much of the greenbelt that we have, the existing greenbelt, is all done through people who want their land to be part of the conservation history of this county. So no, we do not do eminent domain, and we won't. So that's yeah, we can, good. So it'll be acquired, hopefully purchased, but working with other agencies and organizations to acquire land along the river. Yeah.
Any other questions? We're using the mic so people at home.
Okay, I don't understand about the water quality. I thought the water quality of our rivers and things is mostly due about agriculture, and a lot of it is not doesn't have anything to do with Story County at all.
That's I think a misconception, because all of us contribute to the water quality problems we have in Iowa, and it's not just a single thing. For example, many of our rivers, and I've paddled over 2,000 miles of Iowa rivers in the last 15 years, so I know the state pretty well. An awful lot of the soil that's in the rivers isn't coming off the land so much. It's coming from because the rivers are straight up and down on the sides in so many places. A lot of Iowa rivers and streams are what are called deeply incised, very deep, and when we get floods, that soil breaks away from the side. So yes, indeed, we do have nutrient problems. We have other problems in the rivers. And one of the things we're doing, one of the projects that Mike didn't have time to talk about, was some oxbow restoration. Oxbows are a type of wetland that happen along river systems. And in wetlands help us in so many ways. One of the things they do is that they serve as terrific natural filtration. Anytime you can increase the amount of time that water spends in a wetland, the plants help clean that water of the nutrients. The sediments settle out of that into the bottom of the wetland, taking with it lots of other things that are attached to soil particles and everything. So one of the projects along the river are some oxbow restorations and other wetland restorations in the area as well.
Any other questions?
I'm still new to the kind of nature thing. I know that's an issue in November. If I vote for this in November, do you think water quality in Iowa will get better over time, or is that change going to be kind of slow?
We're not going to do it with one project, unfortunately. I wish we could. I wish we could wave a magic wand and say all of our problems are going to go away. There has been in Iowa for ever since the suit was filed by the Des Moines Water Works. There's been in Iowa an effort to do nutrient management. And nutrient management is very, very complex. It's especially complex in the part of Iowa that is north of Des Moines, basically, what's called the Des Moines Lobe, where the last glacier came through, because that land is all extensively tiled. Tiles are tubes placed underground, 3 to 4 feet underground, and they drain directly into our rivers and streams. Anything that is water soluble is in that water that drains off that land, and that's where a lot of the nutrients come from. They also come off our lawns. If we put lawn fertilizer on, don't put it on at the right time, put it on incorrectly, it comes off our lawns. It also comes out of some urban sewage treatment plants that don't treat their sewage well enough. Whole sorts of sources. Yes, the single largest contributor, certainly because it just takes up most of the land, is agriculture in the state, but it's not the only one by any means. So it's going to be we're going to be a long time solving the problem. We hope that we contribute to it.
One more question?
Emma? Okay, my kind of a question, comments.
Sure.
I have like too much into the environment and soil and water. Actually, I'm one of the author of, does it talk? Infrastructure, which I personally handed to Governor Millsap to give it to President Biden when he was campaigning. So Iowa has like a D-, and I made sure that they get that grade. Something you mentioned that you are confusing with regard to eminent domain when somebody like Summit and other people, they go and want to take over the farmland. Eminent domain is not a dirty word. It's basically...
Do you have a question?
No, but what I'm saying, if you allow me, why you don't want to touch the eminent domain? And by the way, there are caveats for it. I always mix my question with the advice. And one of those things is, if you look deeply into like the Army Corps of Engineers codes or whatever, I don't call them law, you will find out that the public has a definite ownership of the land, especially the one that are considered to be floodplain. And most of those land, we all have looked at it, at least in Story County, or most land in Iowa, they're floodplain by definition of Army Corps. And it's not that you're going and take away a fertile land from some poor farmer or anything, which they're not. They're mega farmers right now.
Oh, you're not on the program tonight.
Our approach has been generally to not use, not generally, we've never used eminent domain for parkland in the Story County, and I don't think anywhere in Iowa has it ever been used. But we just don't think it's necessarily the best way to do it. There have been lots of willing sellers and willing landowners. So.
And you'll have an opportunity after we introduce their officials to come up and ask some more questions.
Better talk into the mic.
Yes. You'll have an opportunity after we reintroduce the county officials to come up and ask some more questions of everyone. Very informative. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay.